Amandla. ANC down. Down with Cyril Ramaphosa, down. Down with DA, down. Of a celebration. It's a day where we came to confirm the existence of each other. This meeting is a meeting of survivors. For because we saw a lot of our people dying in their numbers, and we survived and were here to confirm that indeed we survived, not because we've got a good government. We don't even know how we arrived here. Because this government abandoned us at a point when we needed them the most. When our people needed PPEs, they were not there. When our people needed food parcels, they were not there. Those food parcels that arrived in our townships and villages, they were not given to a lot of our people. When our people needed shelter, they brought soldiers on the streets. Soldiers occupied our streets because we don't have houses. In our shacks, they are too small for many of us. Because we've got no place to stay. Because mashole under this government. We are survivors because because we don't have water. How can we wash our hands? And without washing hands, we survived. We are here today. But we saw many of our people dying on the way. Not because they were reckless, not because they were not complying, but because there was no water to wash hands. Water is not enough. There was no soap. There was no sanitizer. There was nothing. The little that we had, by Utswakamoka fo, by Yalebana Babona, by Yalebasadi Babona, Lebana Babona, Lidinyati Jabona, di Tishije Mevili, Dino Chiche Chelete, Utswiwa. What type of freedom is this one? A freedom without water. A freedom without houses, a freedom without toilets, a freedom without access to quality education, a freedom without clinics and hospitals, a freedom without proper roads, a freedom with the highest unemployment amongst young people, a freedom of poverty and hunger amongst the so-called liberated. What type of freedom is this? What did we fight for? What did Mandela go to prison for? What did Sibukwe die for? What did they kill Solomon Mahlangu for? What did they kill Krisani for? Why did they put Winnie Mandela in isolation for so many years? For what? Because we don't see what these people died for and they were imprisoned for. What type of freedom is this? What type of a revolution is this? Where people say the revolution has taken place, yet the oppressor lost nothing. They still own the land, they still own the economy, they still own the environment, they still control our movements. This freedom is not free. How can it be free without economic power? How can it be free when our people are dying? They're sick.
Today that we celebrate on the 27th of April is in large measure the result of the struggles that were waged by the women of our country. In saluting the role played by women in our struggle, I am glad that the Ministry of Social Development and the Free State Government have created a legacy project in honor of Ms. Charlotte Maxeke through the establishment of the Charlotte Maxeke Treatment Center to address the psychosocial challenges our people face here in Botshabelo. I would like to applaud and congratulate Minister Lindiwe Zulu and our Premier here, Mema Ntombela, for the vision that they have displayed in creating this historic monument in honor of Ms. Maxeke. Thank you very much for this. We will continue to build monuments to remember the heroes of our struggle. We will continue to honor those who fought for freedom. We will continue to create all these statues that will make us remember from where we've come from, but that will also be a great history lesson for those who will come after us. We also salute the men and the women of this great nation whose sacrifices have made it possible for us to be here today. We salute today's generation of men and women who have taken up the cause of freedom, who have taken up the cause of equality, non-racialism, non-sexism, and human rights for all. They are the worthy inheritors of the baton of struggle passed to them by those who came before us. This year marks 27 years since we attained our freedom from apartheid misrule. On this day, we recall the historic events of the 27th of April 1994, when we voted for the first time. On this day, 27 years ago, we closed the chapter of the horror story of apartheid. Nelson Mandela, the father of our nation, took the salute from a unified defense force we now call the South African National Defense Force. The meaning of this new order is always so beautifully displayed by the new generation of soldiers who represent the diversity of our country, as we saw today when Major Vundla, Lieutenant Vilakazi were flying the Gripens, the mighty jet fighters of our nation, and Major Nzuta and Major Peterson were flying the Hawks. Now, this is a clear representation of the change that has taken place in our nation. In the past, these jets would have been flown just by white people. Today, there are black young soldiers who are flying these fighter jets. Under apartheid, this would never have been thought of or seen. Much as they are all men who flew today, we know that there are also young women who fly these lethal fighter jets. They will want to hear, what were you doing on that day? But they will also want to hear, what were you doing before that day? They will also want to hear our experience as we stood in the voting lines and queues. Today we have a country where all enjoy human rights and freedoms. We have a constitution that is a shield and a protection for all South Africans. We have made great progress towards realizing the rights of our people to a better life and advancing human dignity. And yet, even as we have lived in a democratic country for the past 27 years, we know that across many parts of our country, the promise of 1994 has yet to be fulfilled. Millions of South Africans still live in conditions of poverty and deprivation.
It is very dehumanizing for us as black children to keep on explaining as to why we are poor, why we cannot afford fees, because these are the same students that were told and were promised in 1994 that they are going to get free education. And taking into account where we are coming from the informal settlement, we are coming from Manenberg, we are coming from Guguletu, we are coming from Kailicha, whereby each and every day a black child is dying, whereby each and every day you hear cases of gender-based violence, whereby every day a black child has to explain their sexuality as to why they are living this way. It is an anti-black society that we live in as black young people.
So this freedom that we talk about today, 27 years later, since 1994, from your answer right now, touching on so many things, for you, it is empty.
It is indeed empty because I do not experience this. I do not feel freedom. For example, now, every day we go to beds as many students because we do not have access to food due to austerity measures that were introduced by the state, cutting the budget of NSFAS, cutting the budget in health sector, knowing that most of these people and the dependence of, they are depending to the state apparatus. When you are cutting all these budget to the health sector, you are saying black people must stay poor, you are saying black people must die into townships, black people must remain at the bottom of all sectors of life, because there's no sector that we can say that African people, they are dominating, or at least there's access for them.
So what should change for you to deal with all those things you've mentioned? What should happen to make this freedom meaningful?
Coming to your point, as we said, that to each and every country we have seen the revolution. There is no formula or sequence, including any fixed way of fighting for total liberation, because without economic emancipation, there is no liberation. By saying that, I'm saying we as poor people now, it is upon us to see as to what is the way forward that will liberate us, taking into account the stance of the ruling party that has to leave. They have to vacate, because even if our people can keep on voting for the same organization, but they do the same thing, and black people, they are still dispossessed even today.
So you agree with the sentiment expressed today by President Ramaphosa that people must go and vote later this year in the local government elections, use their power. He says voting is a potent weapon. They have to protest against the lack of service delivery, for example.
I would not agree with the president, because what are they doing is that the president, they will focus on, they know that most of people who are going to vote, it is the people from rural areas, and those people, they depend on social grants. So that is why the president, they keep on saying they have to go to vote, because they have to depend on the state. If we vote for the African National Congress, we'll get these social grants. So the president does not speak in a broader scale as to what happens, why we've been voting for years, but nothing, there's no change even now.
So as a young person today, Bongani, and you seem to be very disillusioned and disappointed about the nature of the freedom which you've described as empty, and you're still saying that you're finding yourself at the bottom of all sectors of South Africa. How would you change the future?
Our future currently, I cannot say it's bleak, but it is there. That's the pathway, taking into account the depth of the country, because it is affecting us as the generation, and also in the future generation. Having a country that has so much debt and in IMF and the World Bank, we cannot see the future, cannot direct the future current, especially having this current leadership that is in power. Our future is still uncertain as young people and the generation that will come after us.
Are you going to vote in October?
Definitely we are going to vote, but we are saying voting is by the way. Because if voting does not work, we as young people, we must do whatever it takes, whatever necessary to make sure that we do get emancipation. Otherwise, this country won't be here for our children and those who will come after us.
150 mara asile charge ka bo mamang aba ona ba tswaletse o charge kwa a ke re wena ona motlakase jalo nna ro bolela le lena jwang without us meeting like this. How are we going to campaign? Because EFF supporters are the poorest of the poor. They don't have TV, they don't have cell phone, they don't have data, they don't have anything. The only way we can talk to each other is this way. Don't blame it on us, blame it on Ranko, Mr. Nose Ramaphosa. He's the one who declared elections and he thought we are not ready. We are ready. Abad, Arba Chavi, let them come. We are ready, and our ground forces, they've been missing the ground, they've been wanting to work, they are agitated, they are ready to take over their wards. And when we said to them, let's go, bar le rejela guy, khale re thile ka modintungam. Now, you must know, or our PR list, what councillors only. We are not doing PR list. We want ward candidates only. But babatlo banko PR ya EFF ke batla bemba luzije di ward tja bona batlo tsena kwa PR. The more numbers you get, the higher chance you get of going to council. We've been awarding laziness. Bo councilor rabu fedile khalele re khanyecha le sabere ke mbere kwa EFF ai kupe hak aye usaluje le ka bo PR. How's an PR mo? Ke what? Ogre regional chairperson. You can't even win to be a ward candidate. U leader Mammon. U leader the whole region, but your branch can't trust you as a regional secretary to be a candidate of a ward. Okasten. Whether secretariat region or secretariat region, criteria is you must be a ward candidate. And about clothes and a saw. Kabu holo babona. No more yahodimu apaleching waten. I lorke monna, Ronyaka Masadi, no more yahodimu waten. Kauri yaba sadiona, warata or rat, rabatinch. Tukuloye. It will never be true freedom without women participation. Batsena basani. Ewa matomo ili munna kanomore kholo. And then baba mulatelang ili banna. Rochia musadi wola kwa fasi. Ramotsencha. Rabua. Ralatela munna wola wabubedi wa nomore ya odimu. Atsena. Rayotopa musadi wola wa fasi. Ramotsencha. Karenantwe ya basadi arefa fatle fela reimina. There is no way in the EFF where there will be representatives and those representatives are not 50% or more with women. We mean it, and if it goes change and do we samoza meme ngwe mekhatho una le me ngoba re ke bo A B C D E F G Z Kemi Chimirat. Kamo hai kamo basadi ba tsena ka canceling ya chane ba tsena ba tsama ka reverse ba peridi di domestic clothes ja bona ba tsena o ba bone di khadi ja mo EFF ke motso mo yang wa to ka di khadi o ska tla re confused. So please go and work your what. And it's not enough to lose. You must lose with high numbers. So, in 2016, organization is very big. it has got a way of correcting its own mistakes. We are doing that now. Baba fedile mpilo ba re kwatetse, ba re lebeletse TV mamota. Re ke correct. O ska felela EFF pelo, wena berekela EFF. Whether ina le mathata or haina mathata or mokgatlo wa eshushu. This is my organization. I will work for it, and everybody poso ke a tseba they will find a way of correcting it. Comrades, we must make sure that we win and win with high numbers. Tshwane ye re nyaka ka makatana man. Na ibile ke a thuta ke tlo tsupela mo o fitela re tšea pleke ra nyaka pleke a raloke. Low hanging fruit Tshwane is available for you, EFF. Stop playing with opportunities. You are losing the simplest things. This municipality belongs to you. Let's go and take over this municipality and give it back to Abu Gogo. The youth must have a conversation with elderly people and make them aware. This loyalty to Nelson Mandela is costing their children big time. Aule Motswadi is no longer about you. It's about your children. So we have reached that point now. Comrades, there is no freedom in South Africa. There was just exchange of seats. Black people swapped seats with white people after elections. Nothing changed after that except color. Don't be misled. Nothing has changed. We are not saying apartheid is better. Apartheid is not better. But it becomes more painful when you are oppressed by people who should be understanding your condition. Wabona obetaki liburu, I pay ni that much. Mara obetaki wana mau, urban na maradima neban. Of all people, this guy. That's what makes it more painful. Kaufela jonagi di varam club. But the one of a white man is less painful because he doesn't know where you come from. He doesn't know your struggles. But those people who know our struggle, why are they beating us to those ones? Because they should be on our side. Watamayang RANC ekaluka ANC kasaluka ngwaneshu. Iya kwa iya libiteni. And aloro wena wa ishala mrao o tsena le ona mo libiteni. Wena unyoko ba musemelo wa ANC wena. Rena, we are liberated. Skepe siya nwelela. Wena wa ebona Titanic is sinking, we shall unyoko tsena anakua. So please, the day we accept we don't have true freedom, that's the day we are going to wake up and start fighting. We must fight. And that day of fighting, it's here. Vaccine gayon. Bar vaccine yeta. E vaccine fita. Ape by test bar no ebereka 22%. Khane ba dischetle zerini bar ke vaccine. Ba tsama ba thabela batho ka gripe water ba re ke vaccine ke moka ba re e expirile he expirile he re sa re expirile ba re changeang expiry date o ka change expiry date o tlo ba bona magodu ra bereka jwang ba ready ho refa le an expired vaccine ba re just change the expiry date. Jane Jabona diatla mo South Africa bar di cosa di blood clot ba di stopi ke lo tšama America ba ya lebo The Pfizer tše ba di nyakang gore di te mo South Africa, they require a different type of storage. And Pfizer ba swantše ba o tlhabele gabedi, ba o tlhabele no way after some weeks, ba o tlhabele gape. Mara go na le vaccine from Russia, ba re ke Sputnik. Sputnik e bereka 99% safe, a ba inyake. Why? Because ba ja le ma America. Sputnik is prepared to give us 8 million. Ya tšona di vaccine tše tša bona di tle mo bar tlhabele tšona re save maphelo 8 million a ba inyake because ba jetše molato mpe ba tšo ja tšhelete ya ma-America. O na le lekgalabelela la go huma too much mo ba re ke mang? The old man, the white man who came to play tennis, Bill Gates. Ke na re tshwere mogala boo. Re tshwere ke Bill Gates because Ramaphosa o ja le Bill Gates, and Bill Gates has got interest now in some of these vaccines that are not working because they are working together. Because Ramaphosa o jele. But they are not interested in saving life. They are interested in money. Banyaka chelete. So rinyaka Russian vaccine, Sputnik aitle mo. But ba re tlhabele hore re tushe di mask tše rinyaka o phela le rena. Ka re kakate ke dilo shitše. Re feng vaccine re bie di mask tše fase re thoma o bereka economy ya rena e tsoge bana ba rena ba kreye mešomo. Whether vaccine e tšwa Russia or e tšwa America, that should not be an issue. The issue should be, is this vaccine going to work? And if the answer is yes, aitle re tlhabele. Wa kwa re lwa ka eng? Re lwa ka lwe tša makgowa kwa. Ka rena re paletše ko dia tša rena mo ma China e re ke le botšeng kua China mo bolwetši bo bo thomileng a ba sa apara di mask ba ba thabetše ka moka na bona batho ba le bolwetši bo ba bo tseba ka gore bo thomile a nako. Why research vaccine from China and come and give it to our people here? Ka Zimbabwe ba ya vaccine ya China till today asangara kwa ditori tša gore batho ba na le di blood clot. Rena re ja ya America e re khosetša di blood clot. Why is the Chinese vaccine working? This pandemic started in China. They studied it for a very long time. Now they are mastering it. Mara ka gore motho o jile tšhelete ya Bill Gates ba na re kry-a vaccine from China. Re tlo thoma e nyaka ka dikgoka ka gore a ba re theeletše. We want to warn Cyril Ramaphosa. We are going to take a very radical action. If vaccine from China and Russia are not allowed here, they must be allowed the same way they allow every vaccine from India, from America, from Europe. Let people have a choice. We want that vaccine and we want it now because we want to save life. We are not interested in their transactions and their business. We are interested in saving life. Baga now lefa vaccine because they've eaten the money. Makodwa basheje bagochi. They've taken money. So we want all of available vaccine to be provided to everyone who wants to be vaccinated. If usanya vaccinate you, unyaka unwa lengana uarabele, it's your choice. No one must be forced to be vaccinated. Comrades, arena musho uchereke mahuwa. Arien roja musho arena se re le o rekisitše naga ya rena o e bušeditše makgoeng ka moka dilo tšela be re di achievile re re di BEE re re batho ba rena o ka re ba tsoa. All of us are now back to square one. If you have a black person who had a BEE in a company that works with ESCOM, they have been removed now. If you had a BEE, Liberega go SAA, but they have been removed now. Why? The whites no longer need BEE partners because they bought a president. Why do they need you? But regular president. They've got a protection from the president. So, lebo naba by the BEE arba kwele botlhoko because eba krea chelete ba ifa ANC ya ne ya bona hore e elwe le rena ka dikgetho. Yalo diloma le ba rafi yalo. O tlo bona hore di apoka. Diloma le ba rafi. So, comrades, ANC mo tshwane mo aina chelet. ANC mo tshwane mo e etile pele ke madegere mashilu. So ele ka ba la fenya ke ditlatla tše o ra re le west ko le na le wa matabagerere le ka fenya ke mashilu shilu a ausana batho mo tshwane mo ANC mo tshwane e wele o shetse lena or le tše mmušo. They are not united. Abakwane ba re ntlo le role a le tswa le kgoši a gona kgoši e ka tswang ka mola ntlong e la le role la ANC jalo lena ka kwa gona le role a le bone opportunity and grab it and take over power. O ska llela o ba councilor le ska ba la fita la lo a le kgetha di candidate lo ela o tšea mmušo o re o hire o tsene ka mo mmušo o create a permanent job bo councilor ke 5 years. Let's take government and give you bana ba tshwane mebereko ya tshwane. These jobs must come to you. Ikuruleni ela, it belongs to you. Mebereko ya ikuruleni kia lena jalo lena le dia mistake le lwela o ba di councilor ntwela ke 5 years tsena ka mola re o tsenye monna o tsene permanently o ska lwela bo councilor lwela masipala he ba re hey fighter abe bernana re o tlo tsena wena o rena whether ke a tsena a ke tsena a ke nya go tseba as long as we na le berete khibidu ka kwa ke nna le nna ke represented inside that council because I ke apara berete khibidu ka re ke nya ka mereko ke apara berete khibidu because I want to liberate my people. If le antlompa ka stulo no problem maranga se selwele. And if le na le tlolwa in my name, take my name out of that. Naki tswele pele ke berekela mokgatlo. A ke nyaki stulo, ke nyaka di poster, rovianeng di poster. A ke nyaki stulo, ke nyaka door to door, rodianeng door to door. A ke nyaki stulo, ke nyaka recruit more members to come to the EFF. As long as ANC rika incha. Kita khwaka pelo e shweu whether kinna or asinna I don't care. I want the red flag to fly high, and the red flag will fly high in Ikuruleni this year. The red flag will fly high in Joburg this year. The red flag will fly high in Western this year. The red flag will fly high in Citibank this year. The red flag will fly high in Tshwane this year. The red flag in 2024 will fly high at the Union Building when we install the socialist government in South Africa that will look after our people. Amanda! Viva EFF, viva! Nyabasabana! Nyawasaba na. Forward to victory, forward. Forward to victory, forward. Amandla. Long live the enduring spirit of Winnie Mandela, long live. Long live the fighting spirit of Winnie Mandela, long live. Amandla. Oza 27 October, Oza. Oza 27 October, Oza. Thank you very much.